he's going to bring us great stability and belief in the kinds of things that we stand for. His habits are so stellar. The way he works, the way he looks at the game, the way he looks at the challenges of it all is exactly in line with the way we think. And so he'll represent us in magnificent fashion. I think it gives us instant stability at a crucial spot. The history that we have and my understanding of G and how to help him be the best he can be, and he knows how to bring out the best in our system because he'll stand for the competitiveness and the things that we believe in.
Pete Carroll from the other day talking about Geno Smith. They're together again. It became clear, and Chris, we were talking this through yesterday, one of the benefits of being out of football for a year. Now, there was no guarantee Pete Carroll was getting back in. Nothing stopped him from talking to Geno Smith as much as he wanted to talk to Geno Smith. And nothing stopped him from making an unofficial plan that if I get a job next year, I'm going to try to get you to wherever I'm going to be if I end up with a team that needs a quarterback. That's all legitimate because he wasn't employed by anyone. And look at what happened. I don't know how far those conversations went. Geno Smith said at times they spoke every single day, but we see the result. They're together again.
No, it's obviously a bond, right? And even without those conversations, like as a football player in the NFL, you know when you have a special bond with a coach. You do that. You don't even have to stay in contact every day or every week, right? There's certain coaches that I had that I just, we know we had great respect. We loved each other. We loved working with each other. We saw the talents in each other. And yes, we still keep in touch and have a relationship. No, maybe not. No, he might not be on that list, not necessarily. But my feelings are still strong and positive towards him, certainly. And like I've always told you, I learned a ton of football, and some of the greatest memories of my life were under John Gruden. I don't know if he feels not necessarily the same way. I think that's the problem in that relationship. But either way, with this, right, yeah, I think there was, one, a bond there that worked together. Two, it helped them bond because they were getting over the Russell Wilson thing and they got rid of him. And Geno vindicated the Seahawks and Pete Carroll in moving on from Russell. So that helped out the bond even more. And then I think with Pete Carroll, with a football team, just like he did the first time around with Seattle, I think he wants a quarterback that's selfless. Right? And that's where Geno Smith is not a diva. He's not going to disrupt things. He's going to be a good soldier. He's going to lead, but not be too big of a loud presence in the locker room. And with addressing him as the starting quarterback, it now allows them to address the rest of the football team, which is what I think they really want to do.
What a journey Geno Smith has had.
It's incredible.
2013, he fell all the way through round one. He was in the green room. Remember, he left. He wasn't going to come back. I think he did come back. Drafted by the Jets. Started, and then it just didn't go well. There was that weird incident with IK and Impali. Remember that in the locker room where he punched him in the face over some stupid thing about IK and Impali's football camp, and it just all fizzled out, and then he hit the trail. Back up here, back up there. He was the guy that played when Eli Manning got benched by the New York Giants, and it's all finally worked out for him. And he was in Seattle for multiple years as the backup. So he's been with Pete a long time. It wasn't just as a starter. He was there as a backup. He's been around Pete Carroll. That bond is there. It's real. And when you bring in Pete Carroll, and I don't know how much they talked about it. You know, when you interview a coach, you've got a whole plan. You got a binder if they even have anything in print anymore. You got an iPad with all your plans on it, who you're going to try to hire, what you're going to try to do. And would it be crazy to think that Pete Carroll didn't say, hey, look, we kind of need a quarterback here. I think I can deliver as Geno Smith if we decide we want him.
I don't think it's crazy, or at least to open up that conversation, open the door, open Pandora's box. She's in there. I mean, yeah, let's do that. And then I think what you couple that and how I kind of envision it happening behind the scenes after that is Brady and Spytek and everybody else then looking at the quarterbacks in the draft going, hey, we're not going to get Cam Ward. I don't think we want to take any of these guys at number 6, right? Like Chris Simms has been saying here. So let's just do this and make sure we get a guy that we know we feel confident as far as pulling the trigger and making big throws in the NFL, and Geno Smith can do that. He's got big-time talent. Geno's arm is special. He's a better athlete than he gets credit for. He is a starting quarterback in the NFL. And, yeah, I think that's how I kind of envision it unfolding for them. And now they can use that 6th pick on whatever they deem necessary in the draft to improve their football team and start getting some difference makers on that team.
One of the things Geno Smith said at his press conference was that he and Pete Carroll have unfinished business. And you usually hear that from a team, not from a quarterback-coach combo that ends up on a different team. And the reality is it's going to be harder. I don't know where Seattle and the Raiders are right now, okay? But even if they are exactly the same, and that's giving the Raiders the benefit of the doubt.
Yes, right.
The Raiders are in a much tougher spot as it relates to competing with the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers versus what the Seahawks have with the Rams, the 49ers, and the Cardinals. So it's just strange. And it's not like Pete Carroll had a ton of choices. And look, if he had gotten the Bears job, the Geno Smith thing wouldn't have happened. It just worked out perfectly. The planets lined up, but they're on it. And I'm not going to bet against them. I'm not going to bet against them. They could disrupt a lot of narratives that have developed in the AFC West.
It's I mean, not only just talented, but let's be serious. The AFC West might be the greatest. It's one to be the greatest collection of coaches ever in football history in one division. I don't think it's crazy to say that. Oh, Sean Payton, Super Bowl winner, one of the best, if not the best offensive mind in football for the last 25 years. Oh, okay. Andy Reid, maybe the greatest coach of all time other than Bill Belichick. Jim Harbaugh.
Or maybe eventually the greatest of all time.
Right. Jim Harbaugh won a national championships, been to a Super Bowl, been to NFC championship games, first year goes to the playoffs. I mean, come on. Pete Carroll, been to 2 Super Bowls, won one of them, won national championships. I feel like you'd have a hard time finding a division through the course of history that can match up with that right there. The Giants with Bill Parcells and Joe Gibbs, maybe, and then Jimmy Johnson taking over, but yet he hadn't had those, championships in the NFL yet, the Super Bowls. But, man, this is as good as it gets as far as coaches are concerned. You're right about that.
When Pete Carroll was being discussed yesterday and the Seahawks' run of greatness came up, Devin found a way to gratuitously and almost snarkily mention Super Bowl 49.
Oh, I'm sure he
funny.
did.
It was good.
I'm sure he did. Yep. They're very fortunate that Marshawn Lynch didn't get the ball up the middle again. Let's just say that.
It really. I think about being at that game. It was in Arizona.
Yeah.
When Javon Curse did that, he did what catch?
Right.
Like that was kind of like the Tyree helmet catch, where when you get that kind of a thing that happens in your favor, one of those, oh no, you're done. The fact that the Patriots rallied under those circumstances and the Seahawks blew it under those circumstances, that's one of the most stunning outcomes of a Super Bowl ever. And it was so bad for the Seahawks, and they probably should have done it sooner. You just needed to get rid of anyone on the team that could not get over it. And I think they had a lot of guys in that locker room that could not get over the decision to throw instead of run in that spot. And it took about 3 or 4 years until they did the reset. But there were guys that were never going to forget about that. And I'm sure there were guys like Richard Sherman and Michael Bennett, and they think they should have 2 rings,
Definitely.
not 1.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. It goes into what we talked about. It felt like a offensive coordinator who wanted to bolster numbers with the quarterback play for a future job. And then the other thing is an old Simmsism of self-scout thyself. Self-scout thyself. That was a formation and a play that they just went to the well one too many times the whole year. And Bill Belichick knew if they line up in that formation, he taught his guys, and it's well documented.
It was an Ernie Adams special.
Right. They knew that if they line up like that, they're going to run that play right there. And, yeah, that's where it all went haywire. And you're right. That's, to me, it might be the most shocking one ever. Just as far as a moment it happened, you were like, this is over. Seattle's going to win? What? Right? It was crazy. It really was.
And Brandon Browner keeping the guy from getting through to pick Malcolm Butler, allowing him to go intercept the pass. Unbelievable. And Tom Brady and Pete Carroll have now joined forces. It's
amazing. You're right.
Amazing. If we would have said a year ago, think about this. We got to take a break, but think about this. If a year ago we say Tom Brady is going to be heavily involved in the direction of the Raiders, and he's going to hire a head coach in his 70s to be who would I would have bet a lot of money it would have been Bill Belichick and not Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
And it ended up being the other guy
Yeah.
from Super Bowl 49.
Pretty
It's amazing.
Crazy. It really is. It is amazing. The football world is a small world, and you hang around it long enough, you'll end up being around everybody.
It'd be great if the Raiders and Brady and Carroll could face Bill Belichick, but they don't play North Carolina this year. So there's that. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.